Hi, I'm Veronica. I'm a somatic teacher and therapist. And today's session will be a continuation of the one from last week, in which I showed you some ways where you can become more aware of your breath and when you can slowly start changing your breathing patterns, not only so that they are more efficient, but also so that you can hang out in that rest and connect mode of the nervous system more often. So today we're going to lie down and you will need a prop, something like a heavy book or other heavy flat object. You can have it somewhere near you, ready for later. And to begin with, you can make yourself comfortable on the ground. That might require a little bit of moving around. So take your time to receive that support from the air, like anything that you find necessary to make yourself comfortable here. And eventually land in something I call constructive rest. And this is when you have your knees bent and your feet on the mat. Finding the place where this is sustainable, where you don't really need to tense up, especially not in your legs or in the belly, where you can really rest the weight of your body down to the ground. And once you've got that, you can start becoming aware of your breath. And the best way to feel the breath is to literally feel it with your hands. So go ahead and place one hand somewhere on your chest, one hand on the belly, and notice how they move as you breathe. You might notice that there is more movement or more prominent movement in the upper section of the rib cage. Maybe you don't notice any movement at all in the abdomen. Maybe there is a little bit of movement. Maybe you notice a bit of a movement going sideways or even into the mat. So for now, you're not trying to change anything. You're just observing the way your breath is at this very moment. And then just like last week, we're going to encourage the breath to stay in that lower section of the body. And in this case, we focus on the abdomen. And it's not that abdomen is directly involved in breathing. Obviously, you do not have your lungs in the belly. The abdomen moves because your diaphragm moves. So every time you make an inhale, and the diaphragm will push down, which will move all the internal organs and make your belly puffed out. So if you're lying down, that means it will lift. And then when you exhale, the diaphragm returns to the place just in the lower section of the rib cage. It kind of comes back, and that allows all the rest of the internal organs from the abdomen to return, and that's how your belly drops back down. So that's how it looks like from the anatomical perspective. And because we want to focus on that movement of the diaphragm today, we're going to encourage it by creating that movement of lifting the abdomen every time you inhale, and then allowing it to sink when you exhale, which is different than kind of contracting to push the belly down, all right? So the exhalation is actually quite passive. And you can begin with placing your hands in a diamond shape with the fingers pointing somewhere towards the pubic bone, so the whole hands are over your belly, the elbows resting somewhere comfortably. And this time you're directing your awareness there, and you are directing your breath in such a way that it will make your belly move up when you inhale, and it will make it return down towards the floor on the exhale. And just like the last time, the upper section of the body, the face is relaxed, the tongue is relaxed in the mouth, the jaws, the throat, all of that stays relaxed. And you might notice that just moving the awareness there might have already somehow slowed down or lengthened that entire rhythm of the breath. And we'll slow it down a little bit further by adding some weight. So in this case, a book, you can place that book below the lower ribs, above the pubis, so exactly across your belly. And now it's going to be more effort, yeah? It's going to be more effort because you'll be moving that weight, that extra weight against the gravity every time inhale. And then when you exhale, that extra weight will move your belly perhaps further down. Check that you're not tensing anything else in the body, that the face is relaxed, shoulders relaxed, your legs, pelvis relaxed. And maybe you will notice that something in that breath is not quite even, almost as if there is a bit of a hiccup. Observe if there's any possibility to smooth it out a bit. And that alone might feel like quite a work to do. So if that takes your entire attention, stay with focusing on lifting that book a little bit on the inhale and letting it drop on the exhale. And if you feel you've got it and you don't really need to pay too much attention for it to happen anymore, you could add to that consciously evening out the length of the inhale and exhale. Now, depending if counting makes it easier for you to stay focused, or just the other way around, it's actually a bit distracting, you can choose to count the length of an inhale and exhale, or keep it even based on your felt sense. There is good. And as I said, if thinking of lifting the belly and observing the length of an inhale and exhale is one thing too many, stick with one. You can do maybe 3 breaths like this. And then finally remove the book. But keep the awareness still there. Perhaps you'll notice not only the movement of the abdomen, but also a bit of expansion in the lower rib cage. And remember to keep the upper body quiet. And then you might want to take one bigger breath in, fuller breath out, maybe do a little bit of movement, anything that your body is asking for, before you eventually roll to the sides. And after a couple of breaths lying on one side, you could come up. Come to any comfortable seated position. You might prop yourself against the floor. You could have the legs outstretched. It really doesn't matter. Just so that for a moment you stay upright. As that changes entirely the sensation of the breath, because your relation to the gravity, your lungs' relation to the gravity, your diaphragm's relation to the gravity changed. But perhaps as you are upright, you might still feel that belly moving forward this time and returning. It's certainly more tricky to feel it in this dimension rather than kind of when your belly goes against the gravity and then falls together with the gravity. But that's slowly how you're getting into that felt sense, starting to feel how your breath flows through the body and how you can gradually change your breathing pattern on a daily basis. So again, I hope that this was a helpful little exercise. And if you'd like to know more about the relationship between the breath and the nervous system and how you could use various tools to deal with overwhelming emotions and various challenges in life, I recommend you to sign up for my weekly newsletter with kindness. And you can find the link to sign up in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel either, and I'm looking forward to see you next week. Thank you.